Hey guys, Matt here. So let's talk about it. Over the month of May, Gevo has been clawing its way back up. It has gained about 54% over the past month or so. It's been, inching its way back up. And then over the span of one day, it all evaporated. Gevo lost all of it in the span of one day. Stocks can drop for a number of different reasons here, but today's reason was pretty obvious. Gevo announces 150 million registered direct offering priced at the market under NASDAQ rules. Now, I'm going to talk about what happened, and then, of course, I'm going to talk about how I feel about it, and then I'm going to talk about what I plan to do with my shares of Gevo. Now, I'm not going to read all this. You can pause and read this if you want to, but the gist is that Gevo has made some agreements with some investors to sell 33.3 million shares of common stock, and a company warrants for those investors to purchase up to an aggregate of 33.3 additional shares of common stock. So, I mean, you read that right. If this thing is exercised to its fullest extent, we're talking 66.6 million shares of common stock issued out to investors. So, yeah, over the course. Now, I don't know if this is going to hit all at once. I'm not really an expert in that kind of thing. I don't know if it's going to hit all at once or over a period of time, or I guess over the next 5 years. But the point is that once those 5 years are up, at the most, the shares will be diluted up to 66.6 million shares. And yeah, and the proceeds will be 150 million. We'll talk about that in a second. But yeah, in the short term, yeah, I can see why the stock dropped over a third. And yes, you're reading that right. Gevo lost a third of its share power, or at least of its share price in one day. I mean, I can see how that could be devastating in the short term. Because if you look at this, I mean, if you take a look at this right now, as of today, Gevo has 201.75 million shares outstanding. So, I mean, having that diluted by that much more, by 66.6 million more, that's gonna sting a little. I mean, I'm not gonna sit here and tell you that this is a 100% positive thing. It most surely is not. I mean, I don't enjoy in the short term seeing my shares dilute. Neither do a lot of investors. Now, let's talk about how I feel about this and why it's doing this. So, for starters, I mean, share dilution, I mean, companies do it for lots of different reasons. I mean, sometimes they do it to try to climb out of a hole that they're in, to try to save themselves. They do it out of desperation. I don't think Gevo's doing it for either of those reasons. So we'll start here. The proceeds are expected to be 150 million, and Gevo intends to use the net proceeds from the offering to fund capital projects, working capital, and for general corporate purposes. So I want to start things off here. Now, this probably shouldn't. Well, the fact that it happened today is definitely a surprise. But the fact that Gevo is increasing its shares of common stock is probably not news overall to people who have been invested in Gevo for a while. Now, this is an excerpt of an earnings call from the middle of last year, 2021. And I remember making a video about this some time ago, in which Gevo put out a proposal, which I believe, it definitely passed, to increase the number of authorized shares of common stock from 250 million to 500 million. Now, obviously that passed because it's happening now. Now, I mentioned that if it's for a good reason, a reason that will over time generate profits to shareholders, share dilution can ultimately be a good thing. In the short term, yeah, absolutely not. But in the long term, as long as the long term works out, absolutely. Now, let me show you this right here. Now, regular viewers of my channel will be very familiar with this slide, but Gevo has got some projects going on. It's got a lot of money on the table. Like, Gevo is building a net zero plant in order to sell SAF to all of these different companies. These are high profile companies. We're talking 5 billion already signed in offtakes like Delta, Trafigura, British Airways. There's one for a city of Seattle for gasoline. And this talk about renewable gasoline. Obviously, like there's a lot of money on the table, and that rides on the construction of the net zero plant, which is supposed to be online in 2025. And Patrick Gruber has mentioned, and over the past, I think almost every single earnings call I listened to over the past year, that yeah, I mean this financing is necessary. If the 150 million proceeds goes to make this thing more of a reality, then yeah, I will take the short-term hit. And assuming their projections pan out, and I don't see why it wouldn't, with all these contracts already signed and in place, their projected EBITDA is 200 million per year just from this. And what I'm trying to sell you on is that you don't have to worry about demand for Gevo. The demand is already there. The demand has already signed these contracts. They've already pledged the money. And we don't even have to wait until 2025 to start seeing it. We can start seeing some action right now, like this year. There is an RNG plant, you probably already know this, that is coming online right now. And their EBITDA is expected to be 16 million to 22 million per year. And how do we know that this is true? Well, that is because they have already announced a customer, a little-known customer called BP. The demand is already there. You don't have to worry about Gevo building this stuff and then trying to buy customers. It's already found the customers. It's already signed on to customers. It's got a bunch of customers that are in the process of being signed on right now. Now we'll see what happens. Now, especially the deal with Chevron. I know they were working on a deal with Chevron to where Chevron was going to help build the net zero plant in exchange for some offtake of the product. And like I said, the demand is already there. The contracts are being signed. The money's already there. I don't have to worry about it. Like, the only thing I have to worry about is Gevo not building the RNG plant, which is already built. The only thing I have to worry about is Gevo not building the net zero plant. Now, we'll see what happens with that, but everything I've heard is pretty good. And so, yeah, this share dilution, this sell of 66.6 million shares of common stock, yeah, it really sucks in the short term. It really sucks to see a month's worth of stock gains evaporated in one day. But I mean, if this goes towards a long-term goal of me making money off of them, but then by all means, do it. So, what did I do with my shares? So, past viewers of my channel might recall me saying that I wasn't going to buy any more shares of Gevo unless it drops substantially in a short amount of time with no major news affecting the company, like delaying the RNG plant or canceling the net zero project or something like that. Well, I mean, such a day happened, which, the stock dropped 33%. And, well, I might have just bought 500 more shares. So, yeah, today I just deposited over $1,500 into more Gevo shares, and now I sit at 1,700.001 shares. So, yeah, I guess I'm putting my money where my mouth is. But anyways, take care, have a great day, and eat your vegetables.